Okay, so we left it halfway through a chapter yesterday, halfway through chapter 22. So we'll finish chapter 22 and then read chapter 23 today. So we're left with these letters. Okay, what they could see. Remember, the ends of each word were cut off, so they were the middle sections of each word, and they had just begun to try and piece together what those words could be. Okay, so she sat at my desk and grabbed a piece of paper. We have to find out what the words have those letters in the middle. She copied out the letters and looked at them. To the right of the I, do you see, Ted? There's a downward stroke and then a bit of a diagonal, perhaps an N. I considered the alphabet in capital letters. Could be an M, maybe, but somehow I think it's an N. She tapped her pencil. I heard muttering. Bont, con, zone, ion, and so on until she came to Zont. Then she threw down the pencil. Hopeless, she said. What about the second word? I said. Maybe it's recurring. I thought of recurring because my favourite number is 3.3 recurring. I like the way the point threes go off into affinity, like a chain of gods. Recurring? Hey, it would fit! She wrote down the word and muttered it under her breath. She looked at the word in silence. You know, Ted, I've been having one, she said. What? A recurring nightmare. Every night since Salim went. What happens in it? She shut her eyes. First I'm in a morgue, and then there's this boy lying on the slab, and I'm too frightened to look at his face. Ted. Then suddenly I'm in a pod on the eye. It's turning fast, faster than it really does. It speeds up. I'm looking out. I can't see anything. It's foggy. A white mist everywhere. Then the eye stops. At the very top, it stops, and the glass. What? The glass dissolves, Ted, and I'm falling through the white spokes, like through a cat's cradle. And the fog, I can't see where I'm going to land. Her hand went to her throat. A dream, Cat, I said. She shook herself. Yeah, I know. She looked at the letters and sighed. If it was recurring, the ring would go too far to the right. The G would be under the armpit. She rapped the pencil on her knuckle. Why do people have words on clothes, Ted? I don't know, I said. It looks funny, people walking along like signposts or billboard outfits. It's not my idea of style, especially those joke t-shirts like fragile goods, handle with care. She grinned. I saw one the other day on a lady with the most enormous. She cupped her arms in front of the chest. I said, telling me, but I don't think this is a joke t-shirt. It's only two words. You'd get one. You'd get ones with the names of universities, I remembered. So you do, but probably not, she said. There'd be a crest or something, a design or a motto to go with the college name. If it is a college, would it help knowing it? How do you mean? You can buy those sweatshirts anywhere. You might be anybody. There's this boy in my class. He has a sweatshirt that says Oxford University, but he's too young to go to Oxford, isn't he? Kat's head went into her hands. She groaned. This is a waste of time. On the other hand, I continued, there's this other boy whose mum picks him up from school and she wears a t-shirt with Gardens for the Disabled on it. The letters circle in a big daisy, and it's the organisation where she works. Kat's head came up. True, she said. Ontly, she muttered. Is it where he works, or a club, or a society? Something he's part of? Something that might just lead us to him? She looked at the fuzzy torso and faded white letters. She leaped up like a jack-in-a-box. Security! She yelled. Sorry? The second word, Dumbo. It's security. My head went off to one side. He works in security. Security, I agreed. I was impressed and disappointed at the same time that I hadn't seen the word before Cat. What about the first word? Cat sat down again, frowning in concentration. Ontly, she muttered like a mantra. Cat, I said, there's something I don't understand about the photos. Shh, she said, and continued the mantra. Why aren't the letters the wrong way round, Cat? Hey? You know, when you take a photo, why don't letters appear back to front, like in a mirror image? She didn't answer. Ontly, she went, then stopped. What did you say? I said, why aren't the letters... I stopped. Cat was staring at me, her eyes large and round, her mouth open. Sorry, Cat, I didn't mean to put you off. No, she began. But what she was about to say was cut off by an ear-piercing screech from downstairs. Okay, chapter 23. So, what was Kat about to say? What did she have a thought? What did she think about but was unable to say? We'll see if it becomes clearer. 23. Catastrophe. A shriek had come from the kitchen. Kat gasped and gripped my arm hard. Then she ran from the room and pounded downstairs. I followed her as fast as I could. I wondered whether somebody had been murdered. It sounded like the kind of scream you get in an old-fashioned TV detective story, when the maid goes in with a tray and finds a dead body, drops the tray and makes an ear-piercing noise. An image of Aunt Gloria finding Salim dead in the cellar went through my head, and a bad feeling went up my esophagus. Kat stopped in the kitchen doorway. I peered over her shoulder to see what was happening beyond. Mum, Aunt Gloria and Rashid were standing at the table, standing at Aunt Gloria's mobile phone. "What's happened?" Kat said. Nobody replied. It was as if we'd come upon a game of statues. Kat walked over to the table and reached over to pick up the mobile. "Don't touch it," Aunt Gloria whispered. Kat's hand paused. "Why not?" Mum pushed Kat's hand away. "Just stay out of this, Kat. Can't you see Glow's upset?" Rashid's hands went up, palm outwards. Come, let's sit down. Calm down," he said. "Let's get to the bottom of this." Everybody obeyed except me. There were only 4 chairs. I stood by Mum's shoulder. "Gloria," Rashid soothed. He took her hand and stroked it like you would a cat. "Tell us what happened." Aunt Gloria swallowed. "I've been carrying my mobile with me everywhere, never losing sight of it. It's been in the pillow, in my pocket, in my hand, all the time, just in case Salim should call. Then just now, oh," she wiped a tear off her cheek. "For 2 minutes I put it here, on the table while I went to the living room to call the airline, from the landline. I had to call the airline, you see, because by rights," she shook her head and lips squashed up together, "by rights, today we should be flying across the Atlantic, Salim and I. And I rang them to explain why we couldn't make the flight. And the lady on the phone was very kind." Her lips one way, her nose another, and her eyes disappeared altogether. She was crying. I couldn't see why someone being kind should make Aunt Gloria cry, but it did. "She said she'd hold our reservations, that's if Salim is found. They'd put us on the first available flight to New York. So I said thank you and hung up. I put the phone back and I came back in here, and it was ringing. The mobile. It was on the table, ringing, and nobody was in here. Nobody to hear it. I picked it up, answered it, and it rang off." "It could have been anyone," Rashid said. Aunt Gloria shook her head. She picked up the phone and showed us its display panel. The name of the last caller was displayed. Salim. "He tried to call me. I called back, of course, right away, but nobody picked up. It was switched off again. Nobody. Oh, Salim, you called me and I wasn't there for you." The last 6 words came out in a wail that grew louder until the U. She got stuck on the ooh sound. "Ooh," she cried, like a baby that's dropped its bottle. "Viking North, Utah South, Utah 40, cyclonic 6 to gale 8, I chanted in my head. "Decreasing 5, rough or very rough." "Oh, Glow," Mum said. She took her by the elbow and went to stand out in the back garden. I saw Mum handing Aunt Gloria her packet of cigarettes and her lighter, which was very strange because my mother is a nurse, and nurses all know all about how smoking is hazardous for human health. Aunt Gloria would have been better off with a cup of tea, because in my book of first aid it says a hot drink is good for you if you've had a shock. Rashid sat slumped on the kitchen table. He put his head in his hands, muttered something about calling the press. Then he went out to the garden too. Kat looked at me. "Ted," she said, "this is getting serious." "Serious," I agreed. She got up from the table and walked around it 3 times until I felt dizzy. I could see she was thinking. When Kat thinks, she moves about a lot. But when I think, apart from putting my head to one side, I'm still. I didn't like the way Kat was thinking. Her ponytail swung from one side to the other, and her lips were pressed up tight. Her mouth was moving, but no sound came out. Suddenly, she went to the living room. I followed her. She picked up the A to Z phone book from the shelf and flicked through it with her eyebrows pulled together. She turned a page over and nodded. She tore out the page and folded it. "Ted," she said, "I'm going out. This instant. But you're just going to have to lie again. Say I've gone round Tiff's." Tiffany is Kat's best friend at school. "But you're not going to Tiffany's, are you?" I said. "No," she said. Stop twitching your hand like that. All you've got to say if Mum asks is I've popped over to Tiff's. Got it? Popped over to Tiff's. For the afternoon. Don't drone like that. Say it like you mean it, Ted. But I don't mean it, Kat. It's not true. Kat slapped her forehead. How did I end up with a brother like you? How? You're a hopeless case. Where are you really going, Kat? If I tell you, you'll tell others. I won't, Kat. Not if they don't ask me. They will ask you. There's no time to lose. I've got to check this thing out for myself. No, I said. No, Kat. She was in the hall putting her jacket on. No, I said. I ran upstairs to fetch her leopard skin backpack. I followed her. She stuffed the blown up photo of the strange man's blurry face into it along the phone book page and ran downstairs. No, I said, following. My hand shook itself out. No, Kat. I'll be back as soon as I can. Kat! She opened the front door. Kat! I grabbed the sleeve of her jacket. Take me with you, please. Oh, get off, Ted, she said. She tried to slap my hand away. Ah! I grunted. I held on. Let go, Ted! She shoved me hard back through the front door. I'm sorry, Ted. You're really good at thinking, but you're no good at doing. If you come with me, you won't be any use. She slammed the door in my face. I saw her silhouette go down the path. I slumped to the hall carpet and feeling like a molten magma churned in my belly. My foot banged up against the skirting board. My hand shook itself out and my brain went into a whirling vortex of bad feelings. Catastrophe, cataclysm, catalogue of disasters. Hurricane Katrina. Mean, mad, mad, mean, cat. Okay, so the story's progressed quite a bit in that chapter. What I'd like you to think about is, where is Kat going? What has she ripped out of the phone book? And where is she going? Where is she going to get to?